Scott Mathie. Welcome to the Rundown, mate. Great to have you on.
Great to be on. Evening, gents. Always good to see your faces, eh?
No, absolutely. Obviously, first off, I think we've got to, touch on last year. Hugely successful season for the Free Jacks. Obviously, heartbreak for the San Diego Legion in the final. But, what an impressive season you had, and how you sort of taking some of that momentum and success and bringing it forward to this upcoming season.
Yeah, look, really special year. I think a lot of things fell right for us, and I think that often has to happen if you win a trophy. A lot of things have to go your way. Some things out of your control too. But I think the important thing is just making sure we were able to keep some key players and some key leaders, and I think that's always really important. Like that cohesion that you have and you create. And I think those players, once they've been in the system for a while, as soon as new boys enter in, they almost they're custodians of that culture, if you will, and you start actually doing less and less as a coach in terms of the environment, and the environment kind of runs itself, which is, I think, has been really something that we've seen so far in this preseason. And it's often when that's in a good place, then you start getting that cohesion on the field too. That takes a bit of time, but that's the goal. That's the aim.
Yeah, Scott, just to echo off what Alex said, hats off to you guys last season, and I can tell you guys have it going well for you guys just by the vibe I can feel from all the players. You guys were just at our facility 2 weeks ago, and I can just tell it was contagious. So hats off to you guys there. Talk to me a bit about your guys' preseason. What was the emphasis on, the focus on, and lead into the preseason games, putting you guys up for success early on in this season?
Yeah, it's. I think it's always been the same. We always want to keep evolving things. We don't drift too far away from what makes us us. And that's always based around hard work and that humility. And we often have quite a lot of you'd say no name brands, but it's kind of what we're about, and just working hard. And I think the biggest thing is getting those new players that are coming in used to how we do things, and what are our standards, and what we look for, and how we go about the game, because it's pretty specific and pretty. I think everyone's got their own style and own way of doing things, and I like to think we've got our own way, and that takes time for new players to adjust to. So I think the preseason it's been tough. But it's been pretty enjoyable, eh? So we try and get a good balance between that hard work and that fun off the field too, And I think if we get that right, then you start seeing that connection play itself out in the field, eh? Yeah.
And you touched on new signings. Talk us about some of the new signings coming in, who's impressed you so far in preseason and your opening game, and just a bit of light on some of those for maybe the fans listening and watching that aren't as aware.
Yeah, so I think it's been good, get a couple of the boys out. One or two of them's got a few niggles, which is always heartbreaking when they've put in such a big preseason. But I think it was nice to see Daniel Morgan Purangi get a good run. He's got a good turn of pace, which is great. The big lad, John Roy Jenkinson, he was with me at Greek Quiz, so it's nice to be reacquainted with his abilities in the scrum, which is great. And then I think what's also really, really great is just getting Carl Bailey. He had a great year in DC, and acquainted with his fellow Canucks here in New England. So good to have his leadership on board, and and good to see them get a run out. Yesterday they all get their first games for the club, so it's exciting.
Talk to me about this past weekend, dominant performance over Anthem. Now, that's both credit to you guys having such an established organization and the brand of rugby that you guys produce, but also Anthem's brand new to the league, so there's going to be some moving parts on their front. But from your perspective, how'd it go? Scoreboard is in your favor, but I know the type of coach you are, so you're always looking at missed opportunities and things you guys can improve on for next week.
Yeah, I think it was patchy game. I think in parts, I think we could look at different parts of the game and go, wow, we did that really well, or that was really effective, and that looked great, and that's part of what we want, But I think it's just parts of the puzzle. I think if we look at that and we take a proper, real hard look at ourselves, we we start to see like areas, you start to see all the areas of opportunity we probably missed out on, or the learnings that we could take. And I think there's a lot of learnings and work-ons that we can take from there, but all positive ones. I think things that, we're tracking in the right direction, but the execution wasn't quite right, or maybe there's just a bit of more education, understanding around different things, and that all comes to light often in first games, But I think the biggest thing for me, I was really impressed by Anthem. They were always going to put it on the line, but I mean, for those young guys to come out there and, it's very easy to be, I guess, your first game against last year's champs to go, gee, and be overwhelmed, or and I just felt they had a lot of energy about them. It's a really great stadium, by the way. I was super impressed by it. It's going to be a really value add for the league, man. So yeah, I think credit to those boys. They did some good stuff, and they put us under pressure in a few situations. So it was good, man.
Yeah, no, over 2,000 fans in the first ever home game as well. And in a short run in, I thought was a great sight to see as well. But that's sort of game one. Let's talk a little bit about game two. And you guys have a big game this week, obviously playing an East Coast rival in Old Glory, DC, a team you met in the Eastern Conference final last year. They're obviously coming in off a loss. They'll be desperate to get back in the win column against you boys. And it's your first home game as well, back in front of your guys' fans.
Man, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get back to the fort there with all our passionate supporters, and I know they've been excited about this one for a while. Just get back and start the season again in Quincy. But yeah, DC for me, you had a really good team. Like I think Simon Cross has come in there, and you can already see a bit of a blueprint happening there. They're defensively aggressive, very dominant in that area. They still got their set piece strength, especially at maul time. And they've got the pack two maul. So we're going to have to be really disciplined, and we're going to have to be take the learnings from this last game and really apply them effectively if we want to get success out of this game.
Yeah, and just to cap it off, we'd love to hear your thoughts on where the MLR is today. How it's evolved over the past couple of years, and your perspective on the level of competition throughout the league, because in my personal experience, it felt like there's a couple teams in each conference which were dominant, and there was a big drop off from the bottom two. But this year, it feels like 1 through 5, 1 through 6 in each division is competitive, and you're going to have to be on your game week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, you can just look at the scores from the weekend, and I mean, geez, most of them were all one-score games, weren't they? And I think, as the season goes, I think it's always injuries take a toll. But what we're starting to see in the league, and we always speak about it, like the league's getting stronger every year. I mean, but the quality is getting better of player, the quality of coach, I guess, is that's always improving. But it's also the squad size is getting bigger in each team. The teams are realizing now with a bit bigger squad size, you can cope with the 16 to 18 game season, and I think that's been quite noticeable for me as teams are being able to put out bigger squads and will be able to go deeper in the season. So I think that's pretty exciting. So I think you're going to get a better product for the fans further on. Like it'll just keep going throughout the season. That drop off, I think, for some teams where they get a couple of injuries now, I don't think we'll see that bigger drop off anymore. So which is great for the league, man. It's exciting, and with Anthem coming in, you've got this whole young American group of players that are just getting fostered and harvested over there and in Charlotte. So I think there's a lot of excitement around this. It's an ever-changing league, and I think it'll continue to be. But I think that's just the excitement of it. Yeah. And you can always measure it when the foreign boys come over and guys come over from New Zealand and stuff. I think they're always a little bit that they're more surprised about the standard than anything else. They're not going, oh, this is what I expect. They're like, oh, okay, it's pretty physical, or there's stuff happening, So, yeah, it's all been positive too, and there's positive. I'm only hearing good things, so that's great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome, Scott, mate. And we've taken up enough of your time. Wishing you all the best in your game this weekend, and thanks again for coming on the Rugby Rundown.
No, awesome. Thanks, guys, and good luck to you boys too.
Appreciate it.
Cheers. Awesome to have Scott on the show. No secret when you hear the man speak of why he's so loved by his players and also been so successful in the MLR so far.